Suppose you have an Excel spreadsheet that you have to email out to a vendor or your boss or a coworker, maybe monthly, weekly, or even daily. The process of sending them the report is not exactly difficult. We could just go up and start a new email message, address who it's to, fill in the subject line, maybe add a message, and then go up and attach the file. Once we hit send, your coworker, boss, or vendor now has their report. This is not exactly difficult, but it is several steps that involves a lot of clicks. So although not difficult, it is tedious. What if we could reduce this to one click? So if I were to go up here and click this envelope icon, and every bit of that just took place within a matter of seconds. We can achieve this with a little bit of VBA code and a highly customizable macro. To view the underlying VBA code, we'll go to the Sheet tab and right-click and choose View Code. So here we have a VBA macro entitled Email Current Sheet. Now all this code can be copy and pasted from the workbook that you can download using the file link in the video description. You don't have to understand what all this code does, but if you could just copy and paste it into your workbook and learn a few things to customize, this will work perfectly for you. To give you an overview of what this macro does, it takes whatever sheet that you're sitting on in Excel and it copies that data. It then determines what type of file that original Excel file is, so then it knows how to save the new file according to the proper extension, whether that be a spreadsheet with or without macros. Then we set up what the body text of the email message is going to say. If the spreadsheet contains formulas and you don't want the user to see what those formulas are because maybe they're lookup functions that will fail when they open it up, you can convert all of the formulas into values. The save location of the file is in the user's temp folder within their profile, but this can be changed to any folder you want. Also, the file's name takes the name from the original source file and then appends the word excerpt with a date timestamp. This too is completely customizable. The file is then saved, a new email message is started. If you're sending this report to the same person or people every time, you can go ahead and preload those email addresses in the To field. You can also place email addresses in the CC and the BCC field. We've preloaded the subject line. Leaving any of these fields blank means you just have to fill it out each time you send the report. So if you're not sending the report to the same person each time, you might wish to leave the To field empty and then fill it out on demand. We have an option here to either display the message so you can make additional changes to it before you send it out. This could also be set to send, which means the email will be immediately sent with no review. Once the email is sent, the temporary files are deleted and will return back to the Excel application. So with these current settings, I've got a standard message that I'm going to put in the body text of the email. Now this message I've split up into multiple rows just so I could show you how if you want to have multiple paragraphs in your email message and you don't want those paragraphs to be right next to one another, you can use this VB carriage return line feed instruction to separate your paragraphs. We're converting all the formulas into values, and we're going to send it to Bob and Jane with the subject entitled Daily Sales Report. With our code in its current configuration, let's go ahead and run the macro. I'm going to click on the envelope icon. The To field is filled in, the subject is filled in, the body text message is filled in. The worksheet from the current file has been saved in a new file with the appropriate naming convention. I have an option set to display the message without sending it. That way we can make some additional customizations to it if needed. The only thing left to do is hit the send button, and the report has landed in the recipient's inbox. To follow through on an earlier point, if we open up the attached file, notice in the original file, column E had formulas. But in the sent version of that file, the formulas have been replaced with the values. Let's look at some further customization of this code. If you have other attachments that need to be included with this email, maybe you want to include a course schedule or a product catalog or something of that nature, by adding the attachments add and then specifying the full path and file name to the file, you can include additional attachments. If you have multiple attachments, you'll just include multiple attachments.add instructions. In this case, I've got two attachments. One is a text file and one is a PDF file. Having activated those attachment add instructions, if I rerun the code, we can see the additional text file and PDF file being included along with the Excel attachment. If everything is preloaded in the code, the To field, the subject, the body text, the attachments, and there's no need to change any of that, you can skip the review process by changing this from display to send. Going back to Excel with the modified code, if I run the macro, the review process is skipped, and the file is automatically sent to the recipient. So as I said earlier, you can download this file using the link in the video description, and you can copy and paste this code directly into your Excel files. If this macro has been highly customized and requires no modification and applies to only a single file in a single report, then you'll want to put the code on a module sheet within that file. But if you make the code a little more generic, maybe everything is hard-coded except the to field because you want to use it in different scenarios, then you'll want to put that code on a module sheet in the personal macro workbook. That way it's not tied to any specific file. This code is just the beginning of something that can be highly tweaked and customized to meet your specific need. Once all of this code has been tweaked and modified, it can turn all of those repetitive actions into a single click. Don't forget to download this file so you can copy-paste the code. And if you have any deeper questions on how specific parts of this code operate, put your question down in the comment and I'll be happy to answer it. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video. We really appreciate it. And remember, at BCTI, the learning never stops.